Hey budget gardeners, Vita Loca here. Join me today as I show you how to divide the Liatris plant. So let's go. I have a large Liatris plant, which is also known as gay feather or blazing star, and I recently dug it up from someone else's yard. She was looking to thin out a bunch of flowers in her yard, and she was gracious enough to allow a few people, including myself, to come in and dig up some plants. So what I've been doing over the last week is I've been taking those plants that I dug up, I've been dividing them down, and then I've been potting them up. I'm planning to use all of these plants in my landscape in future projects. And the reason that I want to do that is I love these plants and I want to have them in smaller pieces so I can basically just pop them in different areas of my yard. And I'll be sure to make videos showing you where these plants are going to go. Before we start to divide this Liatris plant, come back over here and I want to show you some of the plants I've already divided that I got from this nice woman's house. So keep in mind, a lot of the containers are proven winner containers, but they are not proven winner plants. I'm just reusing pots that I got from free from another location. Here is the plant that we will be dividing today. Over here are a bunch of Liatris that I've already divided down. This over here is a beautiful Asiatic lily. I was able to get a number of pieces from that. Here are a bunch of Shasta daisy. Don't they look beautiful? And then my word, look at all the astilbe. Good thing I have a lot of shade in my yard, although astilbe even does well in a little bit of sun. So I definitely have a lot of places I can put this in. We are currently in my barn. I love it in here. It stays nice and cool. The temperature has been very warm and will continue to be warm. So it's a great time of year actually for me to be doing this job. Now Liatris is hardy here where I live in New Hampshire, zone 5B. In fact, it's considered a native perennial, which is very cool. I really love this plant for a number of reasons. It blooms in the early summer months. It has a beautiful color to it. There's purple ones out there. There are also some white ones. And this native perennial is a pollinator magnet, which is a definite plus. Like many perennials, this plant does like to be divided every 2 to 3 years. When it comes to dividing it, you want to use something like a large shovel, and you never want to divide a plant right at the base of the plant. You want to dig out about 1 to 2 inches from the base, just so you're not hurting the roots or the bulbs of your plant. A lot of times you want to divide your Liatris either in the spring or the fall months. However, I was lucky I was able to get this as well as all the other plants just during the early summer months. Therefore, I have to divide the plant right now. And what I've learned with a lot of perennials, including the Liatris, is you can divide it during the summer months. You just need to make sure you're giving it plenty of water for many days after you've divided and transplanted your plant. Seeing that I've already dug up this plant, this video is mostly about just how to divide the plant. And I won't be putting this plant out in my landscape. I'm going to be potting it up and I'm going to be putting all those pots in a shady area. I'll make sure that they get a good drink of water and I'm just going to let them recover from the shock that they're going to go through right now with being divided. So let me take you in for a closer look so I can show you what the corms of this plant look like. When it comes to dividing your plant, you can use a couple of different tools. You can use something like a hand pruner, or you can use something like a handsaw. The big thing is they are sharp, so just be very careful. And also you always want to make sure you sanitize any cutting tools or any digging tools in between different types of plants because you don't want to spread disease from one plant to another. A lot of times when it comes to Liatris, it ends up being a big, huge mass of the corms. And digging it up is a little hard, but dividing it can be very tricky. So normally what I like to do is first see if I can tug it apart, because sometimes it might actually tug apart for you in certain sections. But in this case, I'm not able to tug this apart. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to actually use my hand pruning saw. I'm going to press this button, and you always want to be careful because it's sharp. And this is by Corona, but there are other hand saws out there, and I'm not sponsored by them. And when it comes to dividing this plant, you're looking for a place where you can make a division. And sometimes you can find an area where it will naturally divide for you. And I'm just looking at this plant in particular. I'm not seeing an area where I can naturally divide it. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to separate the plant in half or about half, kind of like that. And then I'm going to take the hand saw and I'm going to cut down. I'm just tugging to see if I can divide it. And there we go. We just turned that one division into two divisions. And what happens often with plants like this, or daylilies or hosta, is you might have some leaves that fall off the plant and now you don't have roots on them. That's okay. You can just add these to your compost pile as long as the plant is not diseased. And there you go. We turned one plant into two plants, and we can now take these and put them in our landscape or pot them up and give them to family or friends. When it comes to the planting this back out in your landscape, if that's what you were going to do, the key is just make sure that the roots as well as the corms are below soil level. And you want to plant this about 2 to 3 inches deep. And no matter where you plant it, either in the landscape or in a pot, you want to make sure you're giving your plant plenty of water every single day, just so the plant can recover from the stress. Here's another plant, and let's say you didn't have something like this handsaw and you wanted to use the hand pruners instead. What you would do is, again, you're looking for an area where you can make a division. So let's say in this case, I want to make the division somewhere around right here. I would take my hand pruners and I would just go like this. And now you can go ahead and pull it apart. And again, the key is that you have roots on both pieces of your divisions, and you also have some leaves up on the top. I really hope you're enjoying this series on how to divide plants. I have a lot of plants in my landscape, and sometimes, I think as a gardener, we take that for granted and we just do these jobs. But since I have a YouTube channel, and since my channel is all about teaching you and teaching you how to garden on a budget, I feel that learning how to divide your own plants in your landscape is very important, because it's definitely healthier for the plant, but also it allows you to basically increase your stock in your plants in your landscape, which at the end of the day saves you a lot of money. And I like dividing these down into small little bite-sized morsels like this, so that I can just have a whole bunch of these plants all around my landscape. If you have any questions or comments, I'd love to hear from you. Please drop them down in the comment section below. And if you haven't already, I would love it if you consider subscribing to my YouTube channel. And don't forget to hit the notification bell so that you get notified every time I make a new video. And until the next video, make it a great day with gardening.